What is up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Side Hustle Experiment Podcast. This is episode number 50. Freaking crazy to think that we've done 50 episodes already. We're going to try to get something together, but if you listen to this podcast, it's kind of sporadic and not necessarily very planned out. So we did not pull that off, but we will probably do something in the future for, I don't know, our 1 year anniversary or something like that. So we're just going to kind of shoot the shit, kind of have a couple topics, and yeah. Thanks for, if you are a listener, thank you so much for all the support, and we can't wait to do another 50.
Yeah, man, that's how I was going to start it off. Thank you guys very much. That is, it's cool. We have probably consistent 200, 250 people watching all the time, which is pretty cool. I don't know what we were originally getting at the beginning, but we definitely have to have some people that are dedicated to listen to us for whatever reason, but it is pretty cool. And yeah, we had, for you guys, we haven't talked about it too much, but we planned on doing a big panel of people, and that kind of fell through. I think it was just like the timing wasn't great of it, and it was just hard to get it all together. We will do it eventually for sure, and then we were going to do a live stream, which we will still do that eventually as well. But at the moment, just kind of, why don't we just riff about what we've learned over 50 episodes, and I feel like that's going to be fun.
Did you think we'd make it to 50?
That's a wonderful question. Yeah, I didn't think we'd stop.
Yeah, same.
For sure. It's just, there's too many. For one, we can do these like solo all the time. So it's like that could always happen. And then I knew that we'd have unlimited guests again. Like, I feel like we barely even touched the guest stuff, and we've had like probably 30 some guests. So
yeah, for sure. I think there's a whole Google Doc. I need to find it, but yeah.
Yeah, did you think we'd get to 50?
Yeah, for sure. I didn't know how. I knew we would. I didn't know. I think when we first started, we were doing like 2 a week. And then for those of you who don't know, if you don't have like a podcast or create content, it is actually a ton of work. I mean, I love doing it and it's a lot of fun, but like we probably talk for like 20 minutes before this, then 20 minutes after that. It's probably like actually more closer to like 40 minutes to an hour, just depending on what's going on. But yeah, there's just a lot that goes into it, scheduling guests and stuff like that. But probably the funnest part of my week.
Yeah, definitely for me too. Yeah, the hardest part that I didn't like anticipate, which that's why I've just stopped even trying to get guests, because they just always flake on me. They don't flake on you as much, but it's like the dealing with people just like backing out last second and stuff. It's just really annoying. When we're caught up to the podcast, like we're a few weeks in advance, or we have some pre-recorded, it's okay. But it's like, oh man, we got to do something Friday. Now we just got to get on here and do whatever.
Yeah.
Which is just like annoying. And I can't stand that, man. Like, one of my biggest pet peeves in real life is just people being late and people being, flaky and stuff. That's like one thing. All my friends know that about me. I just like always am complaining about it. So when people do that, I just find it like super disrespectful, because I would never do that. Every time people have invited me on pods, I'm 15 minutes early every time.
Yeah, same here. And it's like, I'm always so conscious of like, oh man, like I have like 3 alarms set. Like, okay, like you're an hour out. Like, so just in case you're doing something, like you got to get somewhere or whatever, like kind of you have time to do that. And then it's like half hour. And then usually I'm just kind of like have it all pulled up. I feel like a lot of people too, you want to, if you ever do come on a podcast or do content or something like that, like you always want to like test it out or have like a backup plan. I think that works for business as well. Because we've, as of lately, have had some episodes where kind of we record on Riverside, that kind of crashed, or like the guest didn't have good enough Wi-Fi to kind of get it to upload. So we had to like kind of make some on the fly moves, especially the last one that will be posted not this week but next week. And it was like we only had an hour with the person and we're having all these tech issues or whatever. So I always like to just pull up the Zoom, or just if I'm not familiar with the platform, sometimes you have to sign up. So I always just like to be prepared and not waste their time.
Yeah, definitely. One thing I should have said this at the beginning. If you guys have YouTube accounts, you can comment what your favorite episode has been so far. If it's a solo one with us, if it's a favorite guest, I'm interested to hear what everybody's favorite episode is. What has been your favorite episode so far out of all of them? I'm sitting here looking at all of them.
There's oh man, I feel like it's kind of changed. Like I feel maybe for you too. I almost feel like as my business has changed drastically, where it's a lot more focused on content than it's ever been. More on the UGC, Amazon influencer. So it's always funny because it's like when it's more FBA heavy, I'm more likely to get a guest that's like super FBA heavy. Versus like we're still going to talk Amazon and making money and all that stuff, but we're going to kind of like probably broaden it out a little bit and talk about more general business and other opportunities out there. But I think probably as of recently, I think Oscars was my favorite. He took like a 7-figure wholesale business and kind of just stopped scaling it. And he's doing Amazon influencer program, UGC, all kind of stuff like that. So it was great to like hear from him because I'm kind of headed the same route where I just want to do UGC and Amazon influencer program and stuff like that. I just really enjoy it. And I think that's one of the harder parts about business. It's like you don't know until you know. Like I thought OA was the best thing and I absolutely loved it. And then I kind of got a little taste of content and UGC and influencer program. I'm like, this is amazing. Like, put aside like the money and stuff like that, it's just a more enjoyable business for me personally. Now, if you don't make content or haven't been making content for 3 or 4 years, there's more of a learning curve there. But for me, I like it. So Oscars was probably one of my favorite. And it seems like it really resonated with a lot of people because that's probably one of our most popular episodes.
Yeah. I think on my side, the checkmate flip one, that was pretty cool because it was 2 hours long. That was all, it
Oh,
had
that's
to be
right.
good. And then I like the first one we did with Duke, and then the first one we did with Jameson. Those were pretty good as well.
Yeah.
Not that the second ones weren't good, but I remember those being long, and I think those are two of our most viewed ones. So yeah,
Yeah, I think that's kind of one thing that I like. I personally like a longer podcast where it's probably longer being like at least an hour. Probably like hour 20, hour 30 is probably like a sweet spot. I think it's really sometimes you just can't get it all in. For like when you talk about the checkmate flips one, when you're going like 2 hours, it's really hard. I mean, they talk about this now, like in kind of the culture we're in, it's easy to go for 5 minutes, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, like stay on brand. But after an hour, it kind of gets exhausting and you're more loose. You're like, all right, John and Jew are like, they're kind of cool. Like we can open up a little bit here. So I think we maybe in the future we'll start to do like a little bit longer ones. I feel like an hour just flies by, especially if you're kind of like, can you introduce yourself? How'd you get started? Like you're going to eat up like 15, 20 minutes just there. And then to really just dig into it, I kind of really like the longer ones.
yeah, I find it interesting. Like, I don't know if this is how you've like felt with this, but I feel like every time we get to the 20-minute mark, like for you guys listening to this or watching this or whatever, there's like a little timer down here below us, and it tells us how much time is like
Yeah.
surpassed here. We're like trying to watch till it gets to the 1 hour mark. But I remember like nearly every podcast, it gets to the 20-minute mark or 25-minute mark, and I'm always thinking, oh, we're done. This is not going to go any longer at all. And then it'll just, I think it loosens up after that time, and then it just goes off in some direction. And then I look back and it's an hour and 5 minutes, and I'm like, okay, we got to stop this thing now. They said they only had whatever amount
Yeah.
of time. So I always am so panicked at 20 minutes because I'm just like, this has got to be the end of it. And it never is. It always is pretty easy to keep the conversation going longer.
Yeah, I actually had this crazy idea the other day. It like almost because sometimes I'll get off the podcast. I'm like, oh man, like I wish I asked this, or because you have like some time to kind of stew about it, think about it. You're like, oh, I probably should have like followed up or asked this or pushed harder on that. Almost kind of maybe if we have like a guest we've already had, almost like rewatching their episode and be like, hey, here's what we wish we asked the first
Yeah,
time
definitely.
around instead of just kind of like going through it again or talking about different stuff, but like I think that would be kind of be like cool eventually.
Yeah, definitely. Well, dude, what's going on in life besides that? How's the business stuff going overall? How's your TikTok shop going?
TikTok shop is going okay. I'm not approved in TikTok shop. I think I have, I don't know, maybe just under 70 followers. Only posted about 10 different times. Most of the content's kind of like review videos. I'm trying to broaden it out a little bit, trying to find my way. One thing I do find interesting is I get almost more views on that account than I do my side hustle experiment account on TikTok, which is definitely interesting. Like usually I'll either get like 220 views on the side hustle experiment one, and that kind of like pitters out, or sometimes you'll get like 1,000, 1,800. But for this one, I'm getting at least like 500 or 600 every time, um, which is interesting to me. I have one that has 1,800, and then one today that only had maybe like 500 views. All of a sudden it's like at 1,200 views, and that was
Yeah,
like 2 weeks ago. So I'm like, huh, this is kind of weird, but I don't really know much about TikTok.
yeah,
uh
that's just the algorithm.
yeah, so it's definitely interesting. I mean, I don't know, that's definitely, it's, I kind of like it because no one knows me there, so it's like totally anonymous, which I like. And I also just want to kind of grow it organically myself without, I could probably get like a good bit of people if I just like kept pushing it on Instagram or even here. But I kind of want to just grow it and see what happens that way. So I've been kind of focused on getting at least a video or two a day up there, and I don't know, I like it.
Yeah,
What
the
about
way
you?
the TikTok thing works, I've posted two, and I got 2,300 views on each. So it's just like it pushes them out like that. If you look at your analytics, you'll see it's kind of fake because like your watch time will be probably like 2% or something, maybe even worse than that, or 2 seconds. And it's just like it doesn't make sense. But that's just what happens because for one, you have a TikTok. Well, you don't have a TikTok shop account, but
No.
still, when you're starting a new account, your first 10 to 15 videos will get pushed really hard. If you stop posting on your side hustle experiment one and then started posting in 2 months, same thing would happen. Because I've done that because I have two TikToks, one that like I tried to do for the Amazon stuff, and then this one I'm doing now, which I'm not posting much on it now, but I might. It just depends. I don't know. I got 2,300 views a video, so I see the potential in it. And I went live the other night for like an hour and a half, but that was hard. And I got like 350 viewers in that, but they come and go so fast that it's kind of difficult. And
It is funny though too. I mean, now that I'm trying to learn this, like one of the fastest ways to learn, like I'm actually in a group, so that's helpful. But also, just watching the TikToks, which almost seems
yeah,
like counter like productive because oh you go on TikTok to waste time, but it's like I'm looking at these people that are getting like high views, like I'm looking at TikTok shop, how are they make videos for that, or how are they kind of phrasing it or setting it up, and it's just kind of crazy. Or watching people go live and just see how they do it, and it almost seems, I haven't really seen like a rhyme or reason to it. It almost seems very personality based. It's like a good idea, and the person just has the right almost personality to pull it off. It's not like every time like I sent this for free, whatever the hell this is, goes viral. Like there'll be people that have, you know, 500,000 views, maybe 10 people. Um, they all did the video very differently.
yeah, it's just about like that. I think there's like somewhat of a formula. I think. I mean, a lot of it's the hook. If you
Yeah.
can't keep people's attention for 3 seconds, you're kind of just screwed. Like that's what I've noticed. I found this guy on Twitter recently that so funny, man. Because I watched an interview with this guy because he had made an offer on like fitness a year ago. And I literally watched him last year. He made 23 grand in a month selling like fitness coaching. I found the guy though, and now he's not. Well, he's doing that still, but I guess that's his side hustle. Funny enough, because his affiliate TikTok shop thing is popping off. Like last month, he made 150 grand profit, and he posts 10 to 20 videos a day. He posts nonstop. One account just like spams them out, and he is he definitely knows the viral part at the beginning. So he'll start with, you know, this is the reason you look fat or something like super brutal to people, and then it gets into the video and he's like, I want the whole time for them to make fun of me. Like so he had gained some weight or whatever, so he wore this like tight shirt and his like gut was showing, and he's I just want them to point out my gut. I want them to, because the more viral it can go the better. And he has multiple videos with over 25 million views.
Wow.
Yeah, he's making money, dude, like so much money. And I mean it makes me want to do it a little bit, but I don't know. I
It's
probably
fun.
should. It is, but it's fun. What I was going to tell you, that what I've decided to do for now, which you're not going to believe this, but this is funny because I had the two ideas recently of starting that offer, which I might do that in the future, but not exactly sure at the moment. I just don't know how to structure it. And I just can't figure out how I can structure it without driving myself nuts. And then what was the other idea I had? Oh yeah, starting a supplement company. But both those things, it's like there's so much resistance to me doing it. Obviously, it's not a great idea. But I have noticed one thing I've talked about for this whole entire podcast since last year is just trading crypto. And I thought, I just kind of do it. I just buy coins on Coinbase and hold them. But I'm going to try to start like doing a little bit of like day trading and scalping is what it's called. Like, I'm just trying to trade during the day. I've done it today, down $110, which is nice, but I know I'm going to lose it. I just thought I can throw 10 grand in this over the next 2 months and try to just do this because crypto is like doing really well right now. Bitcoin's about to hit an all-time high. Trump probably will win the election. That'll help a ton. So yeah, that I'm going to probably do that for a bit. It's kind of my thing I'm doing right now because I just don't want to jump into something that I don't really want to do and then just waste more of my time. At least this crypto, so I can sit on my computer like Amazon for like 10 hours a day. I can sit here and just source. I mean, it's the same type of thing, right?
Right.
So that's what I'm doing at the moment, and we'll see how long that lasts. But I'm willing to lose a lot of money before I, give up on it because I find it pretty fun. And
I think that's really interesting that you would say that too, because I recently just paid a lot of money for coaching to do this kind of UGC thing. Well, I'll be working with someone like one-on-one. So I'm really excited for that. I just see so much potential in it. I just want to get like started quickly. Like I want someone who's done what I want to do. And I think that is almost the quickest path to get that. And I mean, a lot of people probably listen to this about coaching or something in the Amazon space or whatever. But I also think what you just said, like you understand that you might lose money and you're okay with that. And what that sounds totally like counterintuitive because obviously the goal for us is to make money, but you also have to be willing to lose some money because you're going to learn. That's how you learn. I always say like when you lose, you don't lose, you just learn. And if you could like kind of take that perspective, it makes business much, much easier and much, much more enjoyable.
Yeah, and I've been talking about on the podcast for a while. This, like I mentioned this probably last year. It's the reason I quit Amazon was this ability that we live in the day where you can make absurd amounts of money really, really fast. Like you don't have to make $5 grand a month or 10 grand a month or whatever. You can make 100 grand, 200 grand really, really, really fast. And the TikTok shop, that was just one thing that's obviously how that kind of works. And you want to be consistent, but at the same time, most of your money is probably going to come from very few. What is it, like the 80-20 rule? But today it's way different. It's like a 90-10 rule or 95-5 rule. Like 5% of your input is going to bring you 95% of your output. And the TikTok shop, the crypto stuff, I feel like that's kind of the space to get lucky, I guess. But if you just have a lot of chances to get lucky, you're going to get lucky. You just got to not give up on it. So that's probably what I'm going to do for the future is TikTok shop and that. So it's like, yeah, maybe I don't make a ton of money, but as you know, I haven't made a ton this year really. So yeah, I just want to put myself in these situations where you can make loads of money really fast. And
Yeah.
I could be wrong. I could be completely wrong about that. But from everything I've heard and everybody I've talked to and stuff, it's not like it's a bad strategy. You just need to have a lot of money, like a lot of capital in the bank. So you can just kind of try. Because if you only have 10 grand, I mean, you could do it, but you're just going to have to work 10 times harder.
Yeah, and you don't really have a ton of runway to kind of screw up and stuff like that. I mean, I guess the nice part too about TikTok Shop anyway is you're really just trading time, right?
Yeah.
Because there's really you don't, I mean, I guess you could buy stuff. I'm lucky that I do like the influencer program, so I have like 300 or 400 things I can start making videos on, or I could just reach out to brands like, hey, can I get a sample of this? I'll make a TikTok or whatever. So I think that is just like a big advantage too, is that you don't need to be spending loads of money to figure out if this is going to work or not. You just have to keep making content and putting it out there and kind of see what happens.
Yeah, you can do it forever. You can do it all day. You can backload tons of videos. I don't know if you've heard about this Koala Data thing, but that's a software for TikTok. Lets you see the top selling stuff.
I did. I think I did the trial, but then I don't know, I got busy or whatever. But I think that might be like a new strategy I might try to do is just buy like the popular stuff on the TikTok shop and then make videos based on that and kind of see how that goes instead of just kind of doing like the products that I have.
Yeah, what I've heard is that doing the more hot selling stuff is kind of the way to go about it. Because there's already built in demand, so your video can
So,
be not as good and it can go off. So I don't really know though. I've looked into a little bit of it, but there's people on Twitter killing it. Like that,
oh
it's the
yeah,
most money I've ever seen people making in a space where they're not building some massive company. Like some kid making 150 grand a month affiliate. That means he probably sold $1.5 million or $1.2 million worth of product. That's
yeah.
ridiculous.
I think what do they call it, like GMV or something? I think.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know what his was, but your percentage on TikTok is like 20 or 30%, I think, though.
So that I guess like for me, looking at this, I know a lot of people are probably like, I think a lot of people are coming to the Amazon influencer, TikTok shop, and kind of all this UGC space and stuff like that. One thing I was thinking about the other day, what I like about kind of like TikTok shop and all this other stuff is you actually can have a competitive advantage. Like we talked about this before on the podcast, but when it really comes down to it on Amazon, you just compete on price. It's like whoever can get it the cheapest. It doesn't really matter. You have to be first in, first out. Like there's nothing you could do. But for this, like you compete on talent. Like if you
He
can
did.
make a good video or a raw video or figure out how to relate to the audience or figure out how to reach out to companies and relate to them to get these deals, and I kind of like that game better because that's something you could like build on. Is it a sellable business? Probably not. But it's not, but it's also like you build like your portfolio. Like you'd be like, hey, I've done, over 600,000 in sales, like for companies or whatever it needs to be, but you do have a competitive advantage
Yeah, definitely.
for
And
sure.
you can tell it's not just like anybody can go out there and do it. It's not easy. That my biggest
Not
thing
easy at
now,
all.
like I know that I'm decent on camera and I can get attention, but I just am not very good at coming up with the ideas of like what to exactly do. I don't know what the two things I've tried to sell so far, but it's just difficult. And it's hard too. I know that part of it is just you kind of being like an idiot on camera. Like you kind of have to be a little ridiculous. And I just don't really want to do that. Although I know that that's probably the best way to go is just be dumb and let people make fun of you. But I hate doing that stuff, but whatever.
Yeah, that's kind of the like boat I'm in. And it's like much harder because I guess my Instagram, it's not like it's goofy or whatever. It's more like, hey, here's how you do this. And that's really not the way to go with unless you're doing like some hack or something or
If you have
something that
authority.
people are going to be like, oh my God, like that's amazing. Or like how to like air fry without getting the air fryer dirt, like stuff like that. But um, yeah, I do find that like, super interesting and just, I don't know, there's just so much more opportunity in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely. What do you think? So are you just going to try to organically grow it until you get like what happened to Oscar?
Yeah, I think so. So I've heard a lot of people, everyone says 5,000 is the magic number, but it seems like Oscar got it at 1,000. And I've heard some other people in the groups that I'm in say they got it at around 1,000, 2,000. Seems to be based on, I guess, maybe how much engagement you're getting. Um, so, I mean, I guess it just really depends on what you're doing. But yeah, I'm going to just try to do that organically. It's just one of those situations where it's like, I don't want anything to happen to it. So I've heard a lot. Some people buy the account, it goes fine. But it seems like most people that buy it or kind of do like these little tricks to grow it, it eventually gets like shut down or whatever happens to it. So I think at the end of the day, it will be better off. And then I also think it's good. It makes me practice. Like I have to be making videos in order to grow it. And I think if I could do it organically, it's going to just make me that much better of a creator. Because let's be honest, if you just buy the account, but you don't know how to make videos, you're not going to make any money.
Yeah, but I
So
do think
that's what I'm trying to think.
you should not underestimate how hard it is to get to 5,000 followers.
Oh
It's
yeah,
hard.
no, I agree with that. I think I'm gonna get. Well, my hope would be to get access to the TikTok shop before 5,000.
Yeah, yeah. Well, even 1,000 though, like I posted 3 a day for 90 days, and I got up to like 350 followers. And I was getting insane engagement, like 20% like ratio on a lot of stuff. So just remember that too, like, or at least be adding in CTAs, like follow me, like at the beginning of your video, stuff like that. Because if you don't want, I don't think you want to be in a position where you're 4 or 5 months down the line, you still don't have it. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, that's what the thing about that I would recommend if anybody's listening to this to do the advertising stuff. You just look up on Twitter, just TikTok shop ads. You can see what people drop, but you can get 10 cents a follower and build up this 5,000 followers pretty quick. I think you spend like 50 to $100. That's how most people do it. The thing is, you can repeat it a lot, so you can like repeat it for multiple accounts. I know guys that run like 3 or 4 accounts. The big thing is just I don't know about what gets you banned, but I think it's a lot of times what you do. Like I know somebody that today they just got a strike on their account, but it was like their fault. They stole content, so obviously they're going to get a strike on their account. But yeah, I think that's a lot of it. But the ad stuff, I mean, that people do that anyways. A lot of people are running ads on their best performing videos, I believe.
Maybe I'll run some ads or play around with it on some of the better performing ones and just see what happens. Yeah, it's definitely interesting. So from what I heard from TikTok, I wish that almost Amazon had their policy. It seems like they have a strike policy. You get like a certain amount of points, and if you hit, I don't know what the points is, but like then you get like suspended or whatever. And I guess the violations differ. You get more points for some things, not for that, and then you could get like points taken off, I guess, if you prove it. But it doesn't seem like they just shut you down.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Whatever.
Yeah, you have 3 strikes, I believe, unless probably you commit something atrocious on there.
Right. I think they like at least tell you like what you did wrong.
Yeah.
But
And I think TikTok too has these ban waves. Like they go through and they ban a bunch of accounts at once. That's usually how it goes.
I mean,
And a
that
lot of
makes
times,
sense.
like the person I bought my account off of, they have like a money back guarantee after a certain amount of days. So that's another thing too. It's like if you get it banned, they just replace it. So that helps. Which I know I need to just post more. Now that we're talking about this, maybe I'll just post one today. I just don't know what to post. I have these protein bars that I want to post about, but I just don't know what exactly to make.
A lot of what I've done is kind of like seen some success with like taste tests. So like tasting different flavors or saying like, is this protein bar good? I'll share one with you later. I don't want to give it because I don't want people to find my account at this point. But I did one the other day that did like decent. I just didn't execute the idea good enough. But I think I'll tell you after this. But I think that could probably work. I think more of it too for me. I think I just need to stop thinking about it as almost a strategy. Like how it almost seems like if I would just do like real life stuff. Like, hey, I'm drinking this beer. Like one of my favorite beers is about to come out. And I'm like, hey, I just got this beer. Like, this is my favorite beer. This is why I like it. And then it's just like something like what is like someone who likes beer, right? Might try it. Like it's helpful. I think instead of trying to like manufacture something that's not there and just kind of go like I did the other day, we made like this tomahawk steak on the Ninja Grill. We'll like smoke it and this whole process. Like I should just make a video of that. Like I always see people making like tomahawks on TikTok, kind of like their process. I'm like, oh wow, save. Like I'm gonna try this. I'm gonna try that. So I think that might be like the better path.
Yeah, it could be. Are you posting videos that are I'm confused. So do you post reviews? What do you link? Like there's no link, right?
No, I'd just be like, get it at the TikTok shop, or you could get it on Amazon, or I think you're not supposed to say you could get it on Amazon. I posted like 2 videos like that, but that was before I knew that. Or some of this stuff, like I'm just like, you could get it online, and just like if they really want it, they'll Google it.
Okay. Oh, I
Because
thought
like there's no benefit for me to like link it
yeah.
up,
Well,
really.
you can't even post a link, right? I think you have to have 1,000 before you even post links.
Interesting. Yeah, because there is like a thing that's like there's like something linked, but you have to link it to an event or something. I'm
Yeah,
not
it's
really sure what it is. Um, but for that, I mean, I guess I could probably do like a link tree or something, but I mean,
you can't put a link in your bio.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, not till 1,000. Yeah, that's the problem with like starting it out. It's like you can't really do anything. There's no way you can even make money off of it. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, I guess that's kind of good though, because like barrier to entry on
yeah,
that. But yeah, it's just interesting to like think through. And it's, I will say this, starting anything is hard. Like, just especially, I mean, this is someone who, for me, I mean, I've created content for a while. This is just a very different style of content. The rules are much different. I mean, yeah, I have a side hustle experiment TikTok account, but it's literally just a reels I post on Instagram. Like, I'm not making specific content. You watch my content, I really don't edit it. It's just like raw and then like some text from Instagram, and then that's it. So for these, they're definitely more edited. So kind of using like CapCut and really kind of thinking through, being more strategic with hashtags and stuff with like that. Um, but yeah, just trying to like work through that is definitely interesting. Um, there's just a lot of different balls in the air with kind of what I'm doing. It's like you have the influencer program, you have the TikTok shop, you have UGC. There's like 5 platforms that like are the main hubs to get gigs and jobs, and there's 4 new social media accounts that I have just for this stuff, and a new email. I just built a website. Like, there's just a lot of different pieces for this. But once you have it all built out, like once I have my portfolio, like everything is like situated really nice. Now I just have to like swap out videos if I want to like showcase one or over the other, or swap out a brand logo. So it definitely will get easier, but at first it's definitely super overwhelming. And that's kind of why I'm getting working with this coach who's
yeah.
hopefully
How much does it cost?
like $1,000, which isn't
For what?
terrible, but it's like 3 phone calls.
Wait, so what is it exactly?
So it's for $1,000. It's 4 phone calls, and then we're gonna kind of like create a strategy. It's kind of just like the intro level to what he offers. So we're gonna kind of go with that, get a plan in place, and then kind of go from there. But I didn't
And
really think it was
what is your
terrible,
thing?
huh?
It's not TikTok shop specific, right? It's like
No, it's like over. So I'm in this group, and he's one of the coaches in the group. So
okay,
the group does like TikTok shop, UGC, influencer program, basically anything like content creation. And then we're kind of gonna, I think so. They also have like a background as like a life coach, which is interesting, which I kind of like that angle. So we're kind of gonna like figure out like what would be the best path for me, and then make a plan around that. So I think it's just super overwhelming right now. Like with Amazon, it's just like you source products.
yep,
That's there's nothing else. Like, which is baffling sometimes. Like, I don't, like, what do I do? Is like you source. That's all you have to do. You have to source it and ship it. Like, that's it. So for this, like when there's so many different paths, I'm just trying to figure out how to like master one and then kind of supplement all the others.
yeah. What do you think? Do you think that your future of it will be? You want to get a bunch of retainers? Do you think that you want
Yeah.
to try to make shitloads of money with TikTok Shop, or do you want to get your Amazon influencer thing with like 5,000 videos? Like what is the
So for me, I feel like it's absolutely insane. So I just probably passed, I think, 1,700 influencer videos, which is pretty crazy for me, based on the fact that like I basically only really started in February and was kind of doing it part-time. um so I think for me, I would want to get the retainer deals for UGC, because UGC, basically, like, I just have to make the video, and
yeah
then the brand is going to run ads or do whatever. So I feel like if you get some retainer deals for that, um that would be like really sweet. And then the rest, probably a lot of those retainer deals do have like products that are on TikTok shop or whatever. So I mean, I feel like that could be like good. And then of course influencer program, yeah, that'd be great to like work that up to, yeah, 5,000 would be like pretty crazy to get that up to. But yeah, just get more brand deals and just figure out how to leverage stuff like that, and then probably eventually like work with companies that like I really want to work with. Like right now, like, I'm just kind of doing whatever comes my way because it's a way to build a portfolio. I'm sure these companies, competitors, see like, oh, another video was made, and then that it's like, oh, like we all reach out to him too. Like there's a lot of people that be like, oh, I saw you made a video Like someone sent me a record player. Like, oh, we saw you made a video for like XYZ's record player. Like, would you do a video for our record player? And I was like, yeah, sure. So there's just like stuff like that. So I think it's almost at like a spot where like I almost get reached out to at least once a day. It might not be something I do, but I'm starting to see like the momentum. But yeah, I mean, the ideal situation would probably be like to just get rid of FBA altogether eventually down the line. 'Cause I just enjoy this so much more, and it's just less hassle, less issues. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. We can make it happen. We're getting
Yeah.
close though.
Well, I just talked to that guy, the Duke guy, a while ago, and he was saying he had like $3,000 a month in retainers from brands. And I know somebody recently that they just got like 5 in the last few days, like requests for partnerships or whatever. But I don't know how it works. I don't know if it's just like they send you the product or like what. Because
Yeah,
from what Duke told me, he said that when you're just like a beginner, like you don't have any like results or whatever, that the deals you'll get are for brands that need you more than you need them. But like their
yeah,
products aren't good because they'll have like, which I'm sure you've seen this on the influencer program, right? It's
for
not like
sure.
Nike.
Yeah.
Nike's not sending, or Nike's a bad example, but any other brand. You know, it's just like random brands with like random off-brand stuff. But
It's
like,
all private label type of
yeah,
stuff.
but the big brands, they're paying the creators like 10K a month that are getting like a million views a month on their stuff. That's what he was saying. So he's like, the retainers are good because it gives you consistent money, but
Yeah.
the money's not going to be that consistent because they don't even have that much cash and their products don't sell. So you don't get any, like for the TikTok shop example, you don't get any sales on their stuff really because it's just not a viral product, but you're helping them because they get sales on your stuff via ads. This is
Yeah.
how I'm understanding this to work. Maybe I'm an idiot. We need to have somebody on here that talks about TikTok Shop. Really, that'd be great. Maybe that should be
Yeah, we
one.
could definitely.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I know some guys
definitely.
on Twitter that are killing it with it. So I just gotta. I can message some of them, but
Yeah, I mean, so from what I understand and so usually what happens is they'll basically send you the product and you're like supposed to just make content about it and then you
yeah,
send it to them. So what I like about that is it's upfront money. So it's not like you're like I have had people reach out and it's like, oh, we'll give you 10% commission on whatever you sell. Like my platforms aren't big enough just yet to do something like that. I'm gonna post it on TikTok. Like I can't even post a link. Like right, there's no tracking. Like so it just doesn't make sense for me. So I'm always just trying to do ones that are like upfront cash. But yeah, that's what a lot of them are. It's just like I'm finally like locked in with this clothing brand now, and I did like one round with them, and they sent me like 20 pieces of clothing, and I did videos for that. Like they started to see sales on Amazon. They're like, "Hey, can we send you another 20 pieces?" And I'm getting paid for each video as well. Some of the stuff is on like in the influencer program, so I can get commissions on that. But for the most part, it's just upfront money and clothes, which I mean is always good.
yeah. Now that we're talking about this, I'm gonna get that guy I was just talking to. His name's Sebastian. I'm gonna try to get him on the pod. I have way
Cool.
more Twitter followers than him. I think he'll reply. Now I don't know how busy he is and stuff. He posts 20 TikToks a day, but it would be cool to get him on here. And I know he's been on pods before. That's how I'll work on this after that. That would be a great episode for people too, just to show like I don't know what's the most money anybody we've ever had on the pod makes a month, but I think 150K is probably near the top. even
Yeah,
the Amazon
sure.
lit guys, like I would highly
You
doubt
have
they're.
money in your pocket.
Yeah, no way.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a
But I
lot of
think
money.
that's kind of where like I mean, I don't know, let us know what you think in the comments. That's kind of like yeah, we'll still talk like ecom and like Amazon and stuff, but like I think I definitely want to like broaden it up. One thing I will say is looking at this other stuff, I am definitely I guess kind of mad that cuz I knew about this I'm trying to think. Like last August or maybe even sooner than that. I heard about like the influencer program and I was like I don't know, like I don't need something else to do, and didn't really even look into it and kind of blew it off. I was like, damn, if I started last August, like it'd be game over at this point right now because it would have been, it's less people. I heard someone the other day say when they first started, kind of when the influencer program just came out, they had maybe like 200 or 300 videos, and they were making close to 8 to 10 grand a month in
Yeah.
commissions. Like insane. Like I'm not making anywhere close to that, and I have 1,700 videos.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, that's kind of like obviously that'll happen more and more. I think it'd be interesting if you had a spreadsheet of how much money you made per month and how many videos you had in your account and like how much you added. You know what I'm saying? Like if you could break down like how saturated it's getting, like if it's
Yeah.
getting more saturated, or if one
Oh, I
month,
see what
or
you're
if it's
saying.
not, or if it's not correlated with that. You know, it would be pretty easy to make a spreadsheet if you're like, let's make it
I
super
have
simple.
one. I
Yeah,
have
if you said,
to. Yeah, I think I made one. So yeah, I'll have to go through that and kind of see. I've heard people say like the number of videos at this point, it's like you almost make two to let's call it $3 per video you have. That's kind of how you'd estimate your commissions.
is that
Uh
what you're making?
close. Close to that. Right
That's
around
not.
there. So yeah, that's kind of yeah, it just really depends. And if you think about it, even if you have videos, it just becomes like a numbers game now. So like these people like sent me these like headphones or whatever. Like even if I only make like $1 on these, right? Like if I have another set and another set and another set, like if you have 5,000 videos, that's 5 grand a month. So I feel like it just really depends. Obviously, you want to try to like do higher ticket stuff, but I mean, you're getting free product and stuff that you want. You got kind of just got to take what you get. But yeah, I mean that range is somewhere. I'd probably say it's closer to $1 to $2, but again, it just depends on what you're doing. I'm doing a lot more like the private label kind of stuff, where they're sending me stuff. Definitely gotten lazy and not really gotten to some Airbnbs and stuff like that. I do think the more the money, like commission wise, is going to be like at the Airbnbs, because that's like stuff that people's like buying every single day. Like
Yeah,
everyone's going to get a toaster. Not everyone's going to buy a pair of headphones,
yeah,
or they'll buy
definitely.
a pair of like AirPods, but not like a another company's headphones.
Do you think that you'll ever do anything where you like teach people how to do it? I know we've talked about that off pod and on pod before, but what do you think? What do you think about that?
I don't know. Potentially. I mean, I guess I have to like get some more results, I feel like, before I could like kind of even look into that. Or who knows, maybe I could do it now with AIP probably, cuz I mean, I'm making decent money doing that, and like I could definitely like get a beginner and like help them start. I don't know. It's like the coaching thing for me has always just been like a hard, I don't know, like a love-hate relationship with it. It's just hard to, I don't know, get people to do what you need them to do in order to be successful. And it's always hard when they don't do it. To kind of, because that's like it's almost like a reflection to you. But I mean, I guess you just have to get over that. And I still want to like kind of like assess like how good of an opportunity is this, I guess, before kind of really even thinking about that. Definitely need to get like some retainer deals, like TikTok shop and all that kind of stuff like set up. But I don't know. I do think it's interesting. I almost think anyone could probably do this for sure if you're like willing to be on camera. Because there's for every like, oh, it has to be like amazing and like this aesthetically pleasing video. There's also like a lot of room on TikTok for like shitty videos that go viral because they're just shitty. So I do think like almost anyone could do this. And I like the fact that it requires no capital. Like we talked about that on the last podcast or whatever, where it's like you have that double almost hook where it's like, all right, you pay me 5 grand, I'm going to teach you how to start an Amazon store. Well, I'm going to teach you that, and then you got to spend another 5, 10, 20, $30,000 for your results. I'm working with this coach. I'm going to pay him, and then I just got to go make videos or follow the plan he put in place for me.
Yeah, the double spin thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I don't really like cap stuff when you have that kind of situation. But with these days, all these businesses do, they take like nothing to start, so that is helpful. And it's you're less on the line for it because you're not you don't have as much like money invested in the person, although they invested in you. But yeah, it's like if they pay you 3K or 5K, they don't have to pay any more. It's like that's it. And if you make it, it just is very simple equation. It's like you just have to make this money back. It's like the easiest sell ever.
Well, yeah, and one retainer deal could do that. Which
Exactly.
that's how I look at it. It's like whatever. Like I'm gonna be like, I don't know. I don't really know too many people in the space. Like like Amazon, I know pretty much all like the top players. Like I could DM them, like I have their numbers. Like this, I don't really know anyone, which is interesting. I don't know if I like it or don't like it or whatever, but it's definitely interesting. But for this, I just kind of like the idea of like getting very specific, I guess, help for what I'm trying to do and kind of get some guidance based on kind of where I want to take it. So it should be interesting to see what he has to say.
Yeah, definitely. Whoa, what kind of topics did you have today? Did you have anything specific? We're 45 minutes in, but I know you had some stuff, so we can talk about it.
Yeah, so one of the things I wanted to kind of get into, I guess we like talk about it. I actually thought your news when you were just like, oh man, like what I decided to do. I thought you were gonna say like you're coming back for Q4 to sell on
Hell,
Amazon. And I was like, because you're like, you'll never believe it. I'm like, huh. Like I can't like that's the only thing I probably like wouldn't believe. But um
no,
with all
not at
that
all.
being said, like it's definitely been interesting to kind of see the space. Like the space has definitely cooled off a little bit, it almost seems. Um, it's nice to see people are beating like section threes and stuff like that. Um, I don't know. It's just one of those things where it's still like super scary. And I think the message that most people are giving is just like you always like talk about it. It's like, oh, like if you're really serious seller, like you'll be fine. But I just don't buy it.
It's just more random. I was just talking to Rick the other day. We were on the phone for like an hour and a half talking about the Amazon stuff because he came to me in the summer, which we had Rick on the pod, and he was like a mentee of mine, and he was really good. I mean, he makes a lot of money on Amazon. He just doesn't know exactly what to do in the future still. And just playing like his big risk factor is he's like, if some of these brands get shut down, it just puts me in a lot of trouble. And like, I think one thing people have these like they're just not like the right messages. It's like you need to niche down, you need to get really good at something. Well, what happens if your competitive edge gets destroyed? Like, what if you're a huge Nike person and then your Nike gets destroyed? So, then what do you tell those people? Like, you just go do it with another brand. I mean, you can, but it's going to take a lot of time, and it's not that easy because that's one of the biggest brands. That makes it a little difficult. I'm interested to see if people how the Q4 stuff goes. Because if it's went like it is all year with all the section threes and that type of thing happening, I'd be interested if it gets worse or if they ease up because they just need the sellers for Q4 for the volume, or they just not care at all.
Yeah, that's what I'm like thinking too. So in all honesty, that's my biggest hesitancy. So I did think about doing Walmart like really heavy. Cause with Walmart, I would basically be doing Walmart to leverage AIP. Because the stuff I bought for Walmart, I would do reviews on. And then that's just an easy way to like do a lot of reviews on like fast moving products or whatever. Because you can't do that with like stuff you sell on Amazon.
Yep.
But then it's like the idea of learning a whole new platform and all the stuff that goes with it and the lost like shipments and all that kind of stuff. I don't know, just to be in like the position where like Amazon is right now, like in 2 to 3 years, is just not that enticing to me.
Yeah. I don't know. I see. It's funny. I see like such switched up sentiments on Twitter of like what people think about everything, but I don't know. And Soros did make a good point. We just had him on the pod. I don't know if we talked about that, but
Yeah.
his episode will be coming out. And he was, me and him were arguing about it a little bit, and it seemed like I mean, he was pretty bullish on stuff. So
Yeah, I mean,
I
I
don't
guess
know.
it just depends on your situation, what you're trying to do. Um, and if you have like ancillary benefits from being a seller, I guess.
Now,
Um,
one thing that I do regret, and I think somebody might have asked me this on a previous podcast, was like, do you wish you would have outsourced it before you like
yeah.
quit? And I'm like, yeah, I wish I did. And now that I know what I know now, I wish I would have outsourced it and tried to build a team. Like even if it failed, I should have at least tried to get a few employees and just kept it going super, super low, just on the back burner. But I just didn't want to deal with all of it. But now that I think back on it, I probably should have and just had less capital churning in it because the credit card points and stuff kind of make it worth it. You know, I think
Yeah.
that's what eventually it will be anyways. We'll just like eventually, as much as people want to say or not, Amazon will be this thing where you're just selling stuff for credit card points. And it's like whoever has the best credit cards. So I wish I would have kind of kept that going. But
Yeah, I will agree with you there. I think a lot of people's sentiment would change if you removed cash back and credit card points because those two things went away. it would be like a really tough sell. Like
Yeah,
just to
definitely.
profit off of Amazon solely, like without credit card points or Rakuten or Top Cash Back. I mean, I think that would be brutal for most. It's just super interesting. It almost seems I'm like super interested to see like what people are going to be able to do on Walmart. Um, it seems like a lot of people are able to. I saw someone on Twitter. They're like, "Yeah, we've been on there for a month and we just passed like 1 million in sales." Obviously, they're doing probably like big time wholesale on Amazon or something because they just didn't like do that like out of the blue. Um, but they seem to be more friendly. Everyone keeps saying it's like Amazon, like when it first started. And I do wonder, like, will that stay? I don't know. I mean,
Yeah, I
that
mean,
would be great. I mean, maybe that's the key. I've like said it on podcasts before. I was like, I wonder if there is a kind of like a comeback for people on Amazon where it's just like, oh, like everyone leaves and goes to Walmart or kind of quits. And then it's like, well, here's another opportunity. Like it's less crowded, it's less competitive. If like, if I could sell Nike and no one else coming on the platform can, like maybe that's a competitive advantage. You do that for multiple brands. I really do think the path though for Amazon, if you wanted to really, really make it sustainable, would be like brand direct wholesale and private label. Those are probably like the best avenues. Like OA, yeah, will always be there, but it's just not as good. Like I'm going through like a lot of stuff that I bought last year during Q4, and it's like not profitable at all.
yeah,
Last year, I would say like 75% of the stuff I bought last Q4 was profitable. I just bought a lot of that last year. This year, that's definitely not the case.
do you have a spend goal? You're trying to spend a certain amount for Q4?
Mm-mm. Just kind of like taking like the opportunities as they come, trying to be like super smart, like not speculate. I'm not going deep on anything. Um, just trying to keep it like really, really wide. Like last year, I think the top selling, like I would say 75% of my sales were like from maybe 10 or 15 ASINs. Like
Yeah, it's
buying
usually
like hundreds of certain ASINs this year, like not a chance. I'm not buying 100 anything.
yeah.
We
It's
really,
usually how it is though. To be the most successful, you kind of do have to just like not get lucky, but kind of get lucky and just have the right amount of stock of something really big.
I'll tell you what it is after this. It was just like you can't ever say you can't lose, but this was like just a no lose. Like it was impossible to lose. There was just like culture shit going on.
Yeah,
Time,
I remember it.
time, yeah. So it was just like one of ththese things where it's like there's oh yeah, because I think I asked you. I was like, I'm about to drop like 10 grand on this. Like, what am I missing? And you're like, I don't think anything. Um, but yeah, so there's just like stuff like that. But I feel like there's less and less of those opportunities.
Yeah, or we just aren't like in
Or
the know. We could just not be in the know about it. That's possible.
true.
I'm definitely not in the know, but if you're not like in the circles of people, because I see these kids cooking like 1,000 units and 500 units of stuff, so they got to be getting them somewhere. And I know that it's always like there's always a new trending product, so that's usually how a lot of that stuff goes. But I don't know. I'm just so out of the loop that I don't know. But I'm
Yeah,
still
I
in
mean,
design.
there's definitely like stuff out there, but it's like I don't know. I'm just don't want to go deep on anything. I'd rather just keep it wide. That's the last thing I want, especially if I'm not going to pursue Walmart. Like, I don't want to have to like be selling this stuff on eBay or dumping it locally on Facebook Marketplace. So yeah, it's a very different Q4, and like a lot of my focus too is like going to like the influencer program, this UGC stuff. So it's like my attention's like pretty split. So it's definitely a different Q4 for sure.
Yeah. What other topics did you have?
I was actually wanting to go back to what you said before. So like, if you were to start your Amazon business again, what would you do?
Well, start it again is a little difficult, but if I could go back to where I was a year and a half ago, I would just completely work on outsourcing it. Yeah,
Yeah,
like I'm just and just trying to optimize all my margin at every point. Like I would have leveraged my like power a bit more because these prep centers that I was working with, Like I was a big seller, like 150, 200K a month. And that's a lot of spend. That's a lot of units. I paid them a lot. I spent like 7K on an invoice one time to a prep center. So that's like a lot of
Yeah.
money. I would have used that to be like, you need me. So I need to negotiate a deal because I'm going to like kind of walk away from this thing, but I want to create this team, like how Soros has it a bit.
Yeah.
And then just set hard rules. And I probably would have brought somebody in to try to even help me. Like I know the psycho guy, he's good with the team stuff. I'd have probably been like, I need to outsource every little bit of this, hire 4 to 5 employees and just let them go. That would be what I would do, just because the like there was 50 reasons I quit, but one of them was I just felt like the work I was doing wasn't worth the money and the stress wasn't worth the money. But if I could like push off the stress and push off the work a bit, then it would be way more worth it. Because if I could work 2 hours a week and make 10K a month, then it's way different than me working 30 hours a week and making 12K a month. That was kind of what my head went to. That's where I would go now for sure.
That's kind of that's what I was gonna say. Like I would definitely try to outsource more. I think at the height I only had like 2 VAs, and it was, yeah, I just didn't have the skill set to like manage them or know what a good VA even really is. Or kind of like I was able to train them pretty good and they were getting some good stuff, but it's just hard. And then it just comes down to like, oh, is this really worth it? I could just source better myself with like friends or whatever. So I kind of went that route. But yeah, if I had the whole thing outsourced, I'd probably be like, yeah, like I'm gonna like keep scaling this thing or whatever. Because at that point, it's just like a capital gain. And then if you could like stay wide and not really go deep on stuff, then you'll be all right. But yeah, I would definitely do that. And I think I'd probably get like more kind of what you were saying, like almost like a much higher level coach who could help do the outsourcing instead of like, oh, like how do you source, like how do you keep, like I know how to do that stuff. More like, hey, can you build me a team in place or something like that, and then let's see how this works, because I think that's the hardest part. So
Yeah.
that's kind of what I would do.
And you think you don't have a desire to do it now? Because you can kind of do it now, right?
I could do it now, I just don't have the desire to do it at this point. I'm just like really bullish on like UGC, AIP, and like I don't want to take focus away from that. Like I could like source like myself, and I kind of have like, replens and stuff like that and stuff that I can rely on. So I'm gonna go with that stuff. But like to take on like to build out a team, like I just don't want to do it.
Yeah, makes sense. And I don't know. If I was still in the trenches of like what was like the meta for me at the moment, I obviously don't have one because I'm not doing it. But if I had some kind of sites I was sourced or some specific method I was using, I would do it. But like you said, it does take a lot of time because the reality is you need to be on Zoom calls with these people all the time. Like you're running a company, you got to turn it into a business. So it's not. I think what I thought was I would just like tell them to source stuff on these certain websites and send them a few looms. It's like not how it works. You have to like actually tell them because they really have no clue what's going on.
I think that was like the hard part for me is like the constant like back and forth communicate. Like the VA thing is kind of like Amazon. It's sold as like, hey, like once you get this in place, it's like very hands off and you don't have to really do anything. And like that's that from my experience, that was not the case. Now, I probably know maybe 5 to 10 people where that is the case. Like maybe out of all the sellers. And they're still like doing work and they have like stuff to do and they have a lot of headaches and stuff like that. But for me, I don't know. That's not what I want to do. I'm not trying to get like 3 or 4 people to source and to reprice. Like I just feel like I'm in a good spot right now where it's like super manageable. Like it works for like kind of what I'm trying to do. And like it allows me to do multiple things. I think adding like a person on top of that is literally just gonna like kind of add more stress to my life, and that's kind of not where I want it to go.
Yep. Well, let me end with something. We're approaching the 1 hour mark. Let's end this episode 50 with words of wisdom. because I wrote something down today. Because obviously, as I talked about at the beginning, I've been thinking about what I'm going to do. And I had all these ideas, and as you guys have, if you listen to these pods all the time, you know that I'm all over the place with what I'm doing. But I'm trying to stay in the same lane, except for now. Now I'm trading crypto. That's all over the place. But the real thing was what I've been doing, learning all this marketing, building the funnels. Recently, I just can't seem to find an offer, an audience, or something like that I really am driven to do. And, at the beginning of this, I was more pumped to do this stuff. I couldn't wait to get to work, and I think it's just kind of killed my spirit losing so much. But it's not like I'm giving up forever. I will eventually use these skills I've built at some point. But overall, I've just realized that if you're not passionate about something, like you're not, and I'm not saying you're passionate like you love to play basketball, so you make a company around basketball. I just mean you're passionate about learning, or you like to do it, your day-to-day aligns with it. If you're somebody that stays inside on your computer, it's that. If you like to talk to people, is it a podcast? If you like to talk to other people, stuff that aligns with your personality and aligns with your passion, if you try to go against the grain like that, your body will feel a lot of resistance, and your work ethic will feel a lot of resistance. And I've noticed that a bunch with a bunch of stuff that I've done. It's like, why can't I do this? Why is there so much resistance here? It's just because I don't really want to do it. But I might doing it because it's a new thing that somebody told me to do, or I watched a YouTube video and it's a good idea. But that's not always the best thing to do. And that's exactly why I quit Amazon, because there's so much resistance. I'll get on my computer and source, and I was like, I hate this. I don't even want to do this. It's not worth the money. It's not worth my time. So then I move on to something else, and there was less resistance there. I wanted to work on it all the time. And that ended up getting a bit like more resistance to it as well. So I don't know. The main thing is, if you guys are struggling with the Amazon or whatever, maybe there's just a lot of resistance going on, and you probably need to think about what you want to do. Like, what you want your life to look like? Because just because some dude on the internet tells you that it's a good idea doesn't mean it's a good idea. Don't listen to me. Maybe I'm an idiot, but like you always listen to these guys. Like Hormozy talks about work all the time. Yeah, that's what he wants to do, but he has a wife, and they're never going to have kids. He never wants a family. He just wants to be like the richest guy ever. So obviously work, and build these massive companies is just what he's going to do. I don't want to be the richest guy ever. Why do I even need to have some massive company that makes me $100,000 a month? I mean, if I can make $1 million in 2 months, if I'm doing some random thing, then why wouldn't I do that instead? So that's kind of where my head's at recently with all this stuff. And I think that I wish somebody would say that to me earlier. There's so many mixed messages online. It's like, you kind of got to take the stuff that you really want to do and then reverse it. Don't think about like, well, if I do this, I'm going to get this. It's like, well, let's act like you already have that. So if you already have everything you want, what does that look like? Instead of, well, if I do this, then I'm going to get everything I want. Well, if you don't, what if you get to the place where, oh, maybe this isn't what I want at all. If it went as good as possible, then what does it look like? That's kind of what I'm trying to put the lens through now. It's like, if this went as great as it could go, how's that look like at the end of the day? Not how if it goes bad. Don't think about failing. Think about if it goes well. Then what do you have to give up? What kind of stuff do you give up if everything goes well? That's kind of where my head's at recently, and I think it's doing me good. We'll see. Maybe I'll change my tune in a few months, but it seems like I'm
think like you got resistance because like it got hard, or you're just like, this isn't what I thought it was, or what do you think?
Not that it got hard. I don't know. I didn't feel like. I feel like that I don't have the opportunity that's going to get me to just grind on it. Like the things I was doing. For one, I wasn't connected to him personally. As you know, I wasn't the face of these offers. I think if I was the face of something, I would be more interested in it. Like I want to do something that I'm very interested in helping people. Like I don't want to do it because for me, it's just going to make me money if I figure it out and crack the code. Like, well, now obviously this goes in the face of the crypto stuff, but that's just something I'm doing so I don't waste all my time doing nothing. But yeah, it's more so like I don't know. I want to figure out how to help people on a larger scale, because then I'll feel more like better about doing things like selling ebooks on the internet. If I knew that it was giving people a lot of value and they were consuming the content and they were coming back to me with like glaring reviews, I think it'd feel a little bit different than what I was doing before of just, I'm going to try to get these people to buy and hope for the best. That's what I think gave me the resistance. And on top of it being hard, like everything's going to be hard. Right. So you got to make sure there's some kind of alignment there.
Yeah, I think that also too, like what you were trying to do, it's like, well, you've never been through that. Like you're not really like what do they call it, like the proto or like the person that you want as your customer. So yeah, I could definitely see that. And yeah, it's definitely hard, I think too. It's like to get, if I feel like sometimes if I don't have like social media, it's hard. It makes you want to like stay motivated. We do this podcast, so it's like, oh, like we got to keep going and do like all sorts of stuff and try new things. So I think that is like also like built into it. So it's like if you're not the face of it, like it's also hard to like really get behind it as well, because you're just like not doing it, you're not into it, and it's just like it just becomes like, do I really want to do this?
Yeah. Well, any other closing words from you?
I don't think so. I mean, thanks for being here, guys, for 50 episodes. We got a lot of good stuff planned. We got a bunch of shows that would be coming up. And yeah, it's going to be awesome. So thanks for being here. Leave a comment below what you think about the show, or if you want us to cover anything. Like, subscribe, do all that stuff, and we'll see you on the next one.
Peace, everybody.
Peace.